Hello, everyone, and welcome. We are back for our second pre-conference session at MoteCon 2023, and I couldn't be more excited to be here with you today. I'm your host, Alex Isaacs, EdTech Specialist in the Long Branch Public Schools District and Mote Ambassador Leader. MoteCon 2023 is quickly approaching everyone on August 18th and 19th, so visit mote.com/MoteCon to register for this free virtual event spotlighting what Mote can bring to your classroom in practice. So without any further ado, I'm going to introduce our esteemed guest today, who needs no introduction, EdTech leader, Eric Curts. Eric, great to meet you and connect through MoteCon today. How are you doing?
Well, thank you so much. Fantastic to connect with you as well. I'm doing great. Can't believe summer is wrapping up. How is that possible? But here we are launching into a new school year. This is year 32 in education for me. So I'm heading into my 32nd new school year and still trying to wrap my brain around where the summer went. But I'm doing great and having a fantastic time.
Well, very excited to have you. Interested to learn more about how you're using different ed tech tools like Mote and Conker.ai. So I'm going to head backstage at this point and let you present what I'm sure is going to be a fantastic session. So bye for now. If you need anything, just let me know.
Absolutely. Well, again, thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate being here with you guys today. I'm going to be running through a little slideshow introduction here to do a quick intro. But most of the time, I'm going to end up popping over to the Conker site, and we'll be doing some hands-on things. But I'll start off with a little brief intro here. Of course, got to have a pun in here, conquer your quizzes. That seems only appropriate. So real quick introduction here. So hi, everybody. My name is Eric Curts. This is year 32 for me in education. I started off as a middle school math teacher, taught middle school math for 7 years before moving into the role as a tech coach or a tech integrationist. And I've been doing that ever since. That's my day job. I work at a regional service center in Northeast Ohio. We support about 35 school districts. That's my day job. And then on the side, I get to work with schools and conferences all around the country and all around the world. And I'm excited to be learning with everybody here today. There are a lot of ways to stay in touch with me. You can mostly, I would say, head over to my Control-Alt-Achieve website, controlaltachieve.com. That is my blog where I have all of my years and years and years of hundreds and hundreds of blog posts and resources and training documents and just lots and lots of stuff there. Certainly, that's a great way to connect. But also, social media and YouTube and all of those are available as well. Outside of that, I am a proud grandpa of two, Gavin and Morgan. Always got to give a shout out to my grandkids and lots of other hobbies and stuff listed there. Again, there's lots of ways to stay in touch. I do a weekly newsletter. I've got an email group. I've got a Facebook group. I've got my Control-Alt-Achieve book. Probably the easiest thing if you head out to bit.ly/CAA-connect, like Control-Alt-Achieve Connect. That'll take you to a page on my Control-Alt-Achieve site where all my connection info is there. And you can connect whatever way works best for you. All right, so that's just a little bit about me. Let's talk about what we're chatting about here today. So this is going to be a session where we're actually looking at two products. And one of them is the newer product called Conker. The other is Mote, which we all love, hence we are a part of MoteCon. And we're going to be looking at the new product that is from the creators of Mote, Conker, and how that works, but then also how it can play nicely with Mote. That's such a cool thing, how these tools can work together well. So we're going to start off with a really brief overview of what Conker is. And then it's going to be hands-on pretty much. We're gonna be creating some quizzes with Conker. We're going to be exporting those out to Google Forms, and then we're going to be seeing how Mote could come right alongside that to continue to help support our learners. So what is this Conker thing we are talking about here today? So Conker is a new tool from the makers of Mote, and what it does is it uses AI to generate quizzes. AI is like the thing right now, isn't it? I mean, everything is AI. I've been doing so many trainings on AI and learning something new every time I do it, and really excited to see where this continues to develop. Well, the folks behind Mote have joined in. to this movement. And Conker was developed to be an AI power tool to help educators generating assessments. So basically what we can do is we can head on over to Conker, and then we can create a quiz in a bunch of different ways. We'll look at several of these. We can just put in a topic and say, hey, I need a quiz on a certain topic, and boom, it'll create it. Or maybe we've got source material. There's an article we want the students to read, and now the quiz is going to be over that. We can provide the material for it. Or there's this growing quiz bank that's aligned to standards. That is a great way to also generate a quiz quickly. Now, the quizzes themselves can have questions in lots of different formats. There's multiple choice, fill in the blank, read and respond. There's a mixed format as well. Once those are created, you can do a number of things with it. Today, we're going to be focusing on exporting them to Google Forms. Now, you don't have to. You can actually deploy them right through Conker as well. There are other options. But again, I pretty much live in a googly world. And so a lot of times that's where my brain goes. And so one of the things I love about this is the quizzes you create, you can send right into Google Forms. They're ready to go. They're set up as quizzes. The answer keys are set up. Everything's ready to go. And at that point, you can give those out to your students. So that's the quick overview of it. Let's actually get into it. So Conker.ai is the website. That's where you're going to head for this. And I've already got that pulled up on my other tab here. Might zoom in just a little bit so we can see that a little bit better. If need be, I can make some adjustments here as we go, but hopefully that makes it a little easier to see that. Now I'm already logged in. If not, you can sign up for an account. Just use your Google account to get authenticated, and boom, you will be right into Conker. All right. So when I get into Conker, of course, my welcome page here is to create something new. Later on, we'll talk about some of these other tabs over here on the side. But for right now, we're looking at creating a quiz. So I'm a teacher. I need to be making an assessment. And rather than starting from scratch and creating it myself, maybe it would be nice to have some AI support for that. So on the Create tab here in Conker, like I said, we can create a quiz a couple of different ways. So one of the options is what you see here. Enter a learning topic to get started. So I could type in the word photosynthesis. Maybe that's what I need my quiz on, and just hit generate to make a quiz on that. Or I could come down here and say I have my own source material. We'll do both. We'll see how each of those work. For right now, though, let's say we're providing a topic without an associated source material. In addition, though, to hitting generate, I can hit customize because I might want to tweak things just a little bit more before I just hit the generate. That's not a lot of information for it to make a quiz. So if I hit customize, you see I do get a few more things I can choose. A big thing would, of course, be the grade level. That's going to make a really big difference here. You know, what grade level are you aiming this for? And of course, the output language, the number of questions that you want, and the type of a quiz. Now, again, we do have these different types: multiple choice, read and respond, fill in the blank, mixed. If you're going to be sending these over to a Google form later, the multiple choice works great for that. The read and respond works great for that. Some of these other ones have a few more advanced features that might not replicate as well in a form. So I'm going to stick with multiple choice and read and respond for this example here today. These other types are awesome. They have a little bit higher interactivity, and they can be done while you're still in Conker rather than sending them over to Google Forms. So there you go. Let's just stick with that. Let's do a multiple choice. 5th grade English, 5 questions, looks great. We'll go ahead and hit generate. So at this point, it is communicating with the large language models, and it is now generating these questions for us based upon the content I gave it there. Now, it's going to make 5 questions in this particular case, and here they are. Now, I can scroll down through these, take a quick look, and hopefully happy with all these questions. But let's dig in and realize, well, you can make changes. You can make adjustments if this didn't do exactly what you were looking for here. So I can click on any of these questions and notice they're completely editable. I can go in and I could change some of the possible options if I wanted to adjust what the distractors were in that particular question. And I can also adjust the feedback if it's correct or incorrect, if I wanted to give some more pointed feedback about choosing a incorrect answer there. If I'm not sure, if I'm like, well, okay, what's the main purpose of photosynthesis? Well, yeah, this seems right. We're converting light energy into chemical energy. Okay, I think, you know, compared to what is Here's options. I would pick that as the best answer that we've got here. But if I wasn't sure, and I could always come down below each question and notice this says validate answer with Google search. Isn't that neat? So if we've got a question that we're not positive if that's the right answer for it in there, we can just hit validate answer, and it's going to open up a Google search where it is taking that question and it is running it through a Google search, so we can see, okay, well, here's what Google is saying about that particular question, and we could use that as a way to make sure that we do have this worded the best way we possibly could. Same thing for all of these. We can go down and edit any of these. Of course, we can grab and we can drag and drop and move things around if we want to change the order here. As well. We could even just delete one of these entirely if there was one that we decided, that question just isn't working for us. We could go ahead and delete those as well down there. And of course, we've got some other topics. If this wasn't quite working for us, we could regenerate with some additional prompts there. But that looks good. I'm happy with that. I like that. So at this point, we've got a couple of options, like we said. Up in the top right-hand corner is the Assign or Export button. Clicking on that lets us say, what are we going to do with this quiz that we've got here today? Now, we can leave it right here in Conker. It can just stay inside of Conker. It's completely, fully accessible. The quiz can be run right inside of Conker. I could just copy that Conker link, the Join Conker link, share that out with my students, and they could take the quiz in there. I can embed this in a website. I can get a QR code for it. I can print it. What I'm going to point out to you, though, is something that I just think is such a great feature, because so many teachers are using Google Forms. It's just built right in here. There's a Google Forms button right there. I can take this quiz and send it right over. No copying and pasting, no recreating. It's just ready to go there. Simple as giving a click on Google Forms, give it a little moment there, and it is generating that. And we'll go ahead and click the button to open it. And there it is. Awesome. And we'll zoom in again on this too. I know it's maybe a little small to see. Hopefully that makes it a little easier to see there. There it is as a quiz. We've got all the questions. And if I click on these questions, the answer key has been set up. Of course it has. Yeah. So it's worth a point, and the correct answer has been chosen. And there's the feedback, the correct and the incorrect options there for the feedback. So everything's ready to go right away. Now, of course, I can modify this further if I want, but if I was ready to share this out, I could push it out through Classroom or whatever my option was to get this quiz out to my students. Okay, so that's a quick example of creating a quiz and then sending it over to Google Forms. Now, after you've done this, you can always come back over to the left-hand side here, and you can click on the activity option. So we were in Create. That's where we were creating something new. There's also the activity button here, and this lets us see the existing quizzes we have. So I could always come back into it, hit Share again, re-export it, or do something else with it. And of course, I can come in here to delete this if I no longer needed that particular quiz. Well, let's contrast this with the other way, which is providing your own source material. So rather than just saying, here's the topic, I can say, I've got my own source material. And for this one, I'm going to grab, here, let me copy off, it's on another screen. I'll just copy and paste it over here. Here's some text about the Boston Tea Party. And of course, we should, of course, rename our quiz as well. So this is just a little blurb about the Boston Tea Party. Now, it is important to give enough text that it is something that the AI has enough to work with, but not too much. So you can see down here, it's suggesting a minimum of 100 words and a maximum of 1,200 words. I'm at 378 words with this, so I'm definitely in a sweet spot there. That should work just fine, but nevertheless, be aware of those boundaries for the source material. Well, now that I've given it the source material, I still have some choices to make. Again, we could do a multiple choice here. We could do, pick the grade level. Maybe this is 8th grade for this particular one. Again, how many questions and the output language as well. So we'll just stick again with the multiple choice here, and we'll hit generate, give that just a moment to do its thing. But now it's looking at my content rather than just the topic in general. And so things should be specific to the reading passage that we are providing for the students. Give that a moment to do its generation. And again, we'll be able to send this over to Google Forms. I won't go through all the options, but they're the same as before. We could come here and we could edit any one of these if we needed to go in and make some changes to those as well. And as always, there's the plus button up there to add a new question. Maybe, turned out 5 wasn't enough. I really needed a 6th question, or maybe I deleted one of them and I wanted to replace it with another new question. But we're going to assume all this looks good here, but definitely you can go through and check that yourself. We'll go to the assign option again. And again, we could share this out as a Conker quiz itself, embed QR code, etc. Let's just send that over to Google Forms as well, just so you can see the difference of what it looks like if you are doing a source material. And so what you'll notice in the Google form is it includes the source text as a block of text at the top of the quiz. So we're getting the actual text to read right there in the quiz. And after that, it just goes into the quiz as normal. All right. The last thing I'll say about Conker before we start moving over to the integration with Mote is that there is another way to generate quizzes rather than your own source material or a topic. There's this explore section. And so if you click on explore, this is that part I was talking about with quiz banks, where at the moment we've got text and NGSS have been added in here as the standards that these are pulling from. So inside of text, we've got, lots of different subject areas and different grade levels. And so this is a growing bank of generated quizzes. And I could come down through here and say, okay, rather than making one of my own, let's come in here and, grab one of these. Maybe we want to grab something about, let's see, energy flow and matter conservation. Give a click on that. And we can say, yeah, that looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and preview that quiz. And there we go. Here is that particular quiz. If I'm like, yeah, I like this. This is good. This is something I can definitely work from. I could come in here and make a copy of that quiz. And now I'm going to have that in my activities. And of course, I can modify it. As always, I can go in and make changes to some of the questions. And of course, I can also, send this over to Google Forms if I would like to. All right. So hopefully that gives you a decent big picture overview of the Conker piece of this. AI tool to generate assessments, create those questions for you, give you total control over what gets generated. But like we said, the beauty of it, sending them over to Google Forms. So with that said, let's pick up part 2 of this. And that is the fact that, Conker's made by the same folks who make Mote. And Mote allows us to add audio to pretty much anything, including Google Forms. So let's say we take the Google Form quizzes we created with Conker, and now we want to add some audio support to those. So for example, we can use Mote to record ourselves, perhaps reading the questions aloud to the students, so that while they're taking the quiz, they can just click a button and they can hear the question being read aloud. Let's try that out. Let's come over here to our photosynthesis quiz, and let's say that I wanted to add audio to this, so that when they get to this question, what is the main purpose of photosynthesis, they can just play that rather than reading it aloud. Well, I've already got Mote installed and I've got Mote enabled up here. So here's my little Mote extension. Because of that, I'm getting a Mote button inside of my Google form. This Mote button inside of the Google form is to record audio for the question. So if you want to add audio specifically to the question, we're going to use the Mote button here. So let's try that out. Let's click on that button. What is the main purpose of photosynthesis? Okay, it's recording my voice, it's saving my voice, and it's adding that in as a link right there for the question, so that when we go to preview this quiz, that will be playable. Let's try it out. Let's hit the preview button. Now here comes the quiz opening up, and you can see what is the main purpose of photosynthesis. And if I hit the play button, what is the main purpose of photosynthesis? And hopefully I shared my audio there. If not, I apologize. I believe I chose to share my audio. Hopefully that's coming through okay for you on your end. But there you go. Now, if the student doesn't have Mote themselves, they're going to see a link there instead, just like you see this link here, and they could click that link and that will open it up and play the audio in its own tab. If they've got Mote installed, it'll just be embedded. The only other thing would be, that's awesome, But what if I want to add audio for the individual choices here as well? So it's really easy. Hit the Mote button to add audio for the question. Maybe I want to read each of these choices. Little bit different on that. So like I said, the Mote button, that's for adding audio to the question. If you want to put audio in for the choices, instead, we're going to click on the Mote extension up in the top extension bar, and we're going to use the Mote pad. we're going to record ourselves right from there, and that's going to make a link that's going to get copied into memory, and then we're going to paste that link next to each of the options there. And that will put that audio in next to each of those. So if I pop back over here, and let's say I wanted to add some audio next to release carbon dioxide. Well, what I could do is come up to the Mote extension, give a click there, and I'm going to click on the little Mote icon here that says click to record, and let's do that. To release carbon dioxide. Okay, it copied that link. So it's recorded and copied the link. I can come here now and just paste that link right in. Now I could just keep doing this process. I won't do all of these, but just show you one more. Click on Mote, click on Mote extension, click on the Mote icon. To produce oxygen. It's copied that link, and now I could keep doing that all the way down. Now what's going to happen is if I now hit my preview button, you'll see that once this loads, we have the question being read aloud. What is the main purpose of photosynthesis? But we also have the option choices. To release carbon dioxide. To produce oxygen. Excellent. So this can be wonderful just as a support for our students to be able to have that. But it also is really helpful if you're doing something where you don't want them necessarily reading, like maybe you're trying to have them, choose the right pronunciation of something or the spelling of something to be able to have the ability to listen to it without actually putting the words out there is another really nice thing about being able to embed audio right into that. And of course, if the students have Mote themselves, they can use Mote to record their responses as well. So there you go. So that is a wonderful synergy between these two tools. On one hand, we've got Conker, which can use AI to generate quizzes based on topics, based on source material from a quiz bank. Those quizzes, we can do a lot with them, but one thing is we can send them to Google Forms. And then once they're there, Mote's right there to pick up the ball and keep on going. So we could now use Mote if we wanted to add audio to the questions or the possible answers in those as well. All right, so that is what I was excited to share with you guys today. Having said that, Alex, maybe you got some questions or some thoughts or something that we might want to tack on to this. So I'm going to pause there for a second, and you let me know what's on your mind.
Well, I can't thank you enough for sharing such great ideas with our viewers today. I haven't delved quite so far into Conker.ai, and I think that the way that you shared it is going to cause myself, some of my colleagues in Long Branch to really want to try it a little bit more, considering how they all marry so well together. You know,
Yes.
The creators of Mote do such a great job integrating it with all the Google tools.
Absolutely.
But one main question that I have, you're obviously so skilled on so many different platforms. There are so many different AI tools out there that you mentioned. What aspect of Conker caused you to start using and exploring the platform?
Well, that's a good point. So you're right. AI is exploding. There's a load of things out there. My main focus, if anybody wants to dive into it, you can head over to bit.ly/Curts-AI. That is my main hub of, it's my main AI document. I'd encourage people to check that out. There's lots of resources there, a bunch of recorded videos that I have as well. Again, that is from my session on AI and education. So bit.ly/Curts-AI, what educators need to know about AI. And we get into a ton of things there. We talk about, like you're right, there are so many tools. In that session, we talk about all the different tools that are out there, classic AI tools, new AI tools that are out there, AI tools that are coming soon. We run through loads of ideas on how to use AI in education, but also what about addressing misuses? So you're right, there's a lot of stuff out there related to AI. What's so cool about Conker? Well, honestly, I think it is how well it integrates. Yeah, could I go to Google Bard and ask it to generate some questions? Yes, and I have. Of course, I have. Could I go to ChatGPT and do the same? Yes, I have, and it's an excellent way of doing that. I love how well integrated all this is. If I can come here and just say, okay, listen, I don't have to worry about getting the prompt just the way that it needs to be. I'm like, okay, they're taking care of that for me. They're structuring the prompt well and sending it over. I can pick the grade level and the language, and I can the topics or the source material, and the fact that it's going to create that quiz right away in such an easy to edit way. I can come in and say, okay, I want to go into this quiz and I want to change a word here or there. I want to adjust the feedback. I want to move things around. And then just that export to forms. Oh my gosh, how slick that is to be able to do that. So what I see is them taking some of the best ideas of how AI can help us and making it a lot easier for teachers, taking out that friction so that we can just get to what we need to do, which is helping kids and not spend so much time on copying and pasting and so forth.
I know that time is something that teachers out there are dying to get back. And that's where meaningful AI tools, effective platforms, those are the ones that we really want to try to highlight and spotlight. The only other real question that I have for you is I'm always trying to bring it back to math instruction. I feel like that might be the subject, the content area that kind of gets left behind in the creativity aspect, the ed tech aspect. You have a math teacher background, obviously, middle school math as well, same as me, 8th grade life, I would say, even though I'm an ed tech specialist now. What would you say would be a great recommendation for math teachers out there? What can this platform really do for them as far as, allowing them to meet their students' needs a little bit more effectively?
Well, I mean, you are correct. I mean, math sometimes is a unique challenge in the ed tech world, without a doubt, because it has a lot of symbols and a lot of things like that in it that are sometimes harder to represent. Keep in mind, though, we absolutely can use this exact same system for generating, math questions as well. The topic that we put in, could be one of our math topics, and we could, generate multiple choice questions that relate to those as well. I think where I usually point people when we start looking at trying to make math play nicely, one of the other fantastic ed tech companies out there, Text Help. They've got a lot of great tools. They got one called Equatio that plays very nicely with Google Forms and helps us to be able to make nice symbols inside of our Google Forms. So if that's what people are butting up against, there are tools out there that do support us in that as well. But as far as using Conker, without a doubt, I know I did a science example and I did a social studies example, but we could come in here and put in math topics as well to generate. Think about generating story problems that are going to be right where our students need to be. So yeah, absolutely.
I think of it as something that could be really helpful when creating exit slips, just a quick check of understanding where, there were times where I was designing big time exit slips and stuff like that. This could be something that could be during a prep period. You could get this done and be set to really assess your students' knowledge.
You're ready to go. That's right.
Well, Eric, I can't thank you enough for joining us today.
My pleasure.
I'm sure I speak for many of us saying that we're inspired, to use Mote, delve into Conker.ai as well, marry them together in some new and innovative ways. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our viewers today before we sign off?
No, just thanks so much for letting me learn with you. Again, like I said, all of my contact info, probably the easiest way is just at bit.ly/CAA-connect. That'll get you to a page on my Control-Alt-Achieve site that has all my contact info. Nice way to be able to stay in touch with whatever way works best for you. And yeah, if you want to dive deeper into AI in general, bit.ly/Curts-AI can get you to some of those resources. But thank you guys so very much for letting me be a part of the learning here today.
We appreciate you sharing your innovative ideas with us today. I'm sure you've inspired many to delve more into Conker and Mote while app smashing the two. And we also thank everyone for tuning in today. Be sure to visit mote.com/MoteCon to register and participate in this amazing event coming up on August 18th and 19th. So for now, everyone, we're wishing you a great day. Bye for now. We'll see you at MoteCon, everybody. Have a great day.